you for joining us. I'm Kat Kennedy, Public Information Officer for Orange County Fire Rescue. First, let me take a moment to recognize the dignitaries who have joined us today. From Orange County, Mayor Teresa Jacobs. Deputy County Administrator Dr. George Rawls. Division Chief of Operations for Orange County Fire Rescue, Michael Vida. From Orlando, Mayor Buddy Dyer. Commissioner Robert Stewart. Fire Chief Roderick Williams. From Seminole County, Fire Chief Mark Oakes. From Winter Park, City Manager Randy Knight. Fire Chief Jim White. From Clermont, Mayor Gail Ash. Fire Chief Carl Bishop. Now I'm pleased to turn it over to Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's such a privilege to be here to thank the firefighters who deployed to Texas to help the residents there in their recovery from Hurricane Harvey. And it is a joint response from a number of agencies across Central Florida that once again demonstrates the power of partnership and collaboration that we have regionally. I don't know a region that does response better or works together better. I saw that on the night of June the 12th. I see that in the response that we have made to go help the citizens of Texas. And I'm proud that the Orlando Fire Department and all of our agencies provided much needed relief. And I understand from just hearing a few of the war stories that they were deployed to Houston but stopped over in Beaumont and ended up being the only entity in Beaumont doing search and rescue, and then ended up working with the Marines and the U.S. Army Reserve, and that may be a first for USAR. I'm not sure, but it's great when we figure out how to work with other entities to do good for other people. We applaud your efforts. Our community receives so much help and support from around the country and around the world after June the 12th, after Pulse, and I'm always so happy when we're able to reach out and help other people when they're having adversity. Unfortunately, as you come home today, we may be facing adversity on our own. We're tracking Irma, and I encourage all of our residents to go ahead and be prepared, and I know that our firefighters are happy to be rejoining their families in the event that we do have to contend with Irma. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart and the residents of the city of Orlando for your efforts on behalf of the citizens of Texas. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to call on our Orange County Mayor, Mayor Jacobs.
Well, thank you, Mayor Dyer, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon for a welcome back to our local heroes. We are really proud of these guys, and I think they're all guys. But maybe next time we'll throw a female into the mix. But we are so proud. Yeah, I think you all probably know, but each and every one of them volunteered for this duty. And I can't imagine what the experience was like. I had just a few minutes to catch up with a couple of folks talking about just some of the really harrowing experiences. We sometimes think that rescue that's the safe route, that's after the storm has passed, but they were dealing with some pretty precarious weather conditions still, the flooding, and there was not I bet you, not a moment's thought of whether or not they wanted to sign up for this duty. I call it public DNA. It's something that people are either born with or they're not. And it's that desire to serve other people, that desire to put themselves on the line. And it's a remarkable part of human nature. And I was reflecting on the fact that I think sometimes we can get a little cynical. Nothing against our great media. I don't know I can't imagine what our country would be like without you. But most of the time we turn on the news, we're not seeing our best selves. We're not seeing the angels inside of each of us. Too often we're seeing the tragic side of human nature. But the reality is, the good side of human nature, when needed, shines brightly. It did here in Orlando, as Mayor Dyer mentioned last year with Pulse. It did in Texas. And it wasn't just the folks that we sent there. It was folks from all over. But the stories, as the media, as you all have an opportunity to talk to these folks, the stories are pretty compelling about the good side of human nature and how many people faced with a tragedy, rather than worrying about their own possessions and their own situation, they're worried about how they can help somebody else. I want to recognize Mayor Ash. I'm so grateful to Clermont. Clermont is one of our cherished sisters, but also small, and yet you sent somebody out as well. And of course, I'm extremely proud of the men from Orange County Fire Rescue who gave up the last 10 days, as well as everybody participated. Mayor Dyer talked about the training. We do a lot of training. One of the things that we're working on with Valencia is to build a joint training academy for fire rescue, for law enforcement. As I've just heard, we need the military engaged as well, because first responders are taking on an entirely different role today than they took on when most of you signed up for this duty. You are now the first responders and the front line on the war against terrorism, on the tragedies that we see because of climate conditions, and we rely on you every day to keep our communities safer. We thank God that we have each and every one of you. For the days that we forget to say thank you, it doesn't mean that it's not in our hearts. And so with that, without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Kat. Kat, you want to take over? Thank you.
All right, thank you both. Now, without any further ado, let's turn things over to the boots on the ground. And the leader of those boots is Task Force 4 Deployment Team Leader, Seminole County Assistant Chief Michael Johansmeyer.
Thank you so much. Let's give the round of applause to the task force members, all their hard work. They truly made my job very easy to do. We had a lot of trials and tribulations like any mission would give you, and it was nice to know that I could focus on what I needed to get done, and they would take care of the people that really needed the help most. We'd like to thank all the families. We know that this is not an easy thing. We blinked our eye and it was 10 days. It's kind of slow getting out there and getting into missions and figuring things out, but then once you're in there, it's like time just flies. You blink your eye, the day is over. We have a big, we're pretty fun about 214 forms that we have to fill out everything, and it was hard to even get those done. We were truly 24 hour. It was unbelievable. I just would like to thank everybody that's already been thanked here. It takes a lot to move mountains, and it takes a lot of commitment, and it's far beyond just the 10 days that we've been gone. All of these agencies, elected officials, all of the families, making a commitment to these teams for these types of 10 days, but it's an everyday commitment. It's sustainment of this equipment to make sure that these gentlemen and ladies are safe when they walk out this door. It is vitally important. We all know that the money is always up in the air. The UASI money, the SHISGAP money, it's been threatened in this community, and it's time for it to stop. I can't tell you that, it's always about the, when we come back, I know that the attention is on us, but there's a lot of people back home that just really helped out our team. 2 people in particular, and I hope I don't offend by anybody by just calling out a couple of people that just really was a right arm to me, was Mark Austin, who allowed me to vent a couple of times. Where you at, Mark? He just he was my link to keeping sanity. And Garrett, where you at, Garrett? Garrett back there. He took care of all the logistics things that we needed to get done that we couldn't get done with us there. So I want to thank all of you all. Just to give you a quick idea about what took place, we were supposed to go into Austin, Texas, around Houston. We were pushing the team hard to get in there. We wanted to get out of the state of Florida, knowing that that's a milestone. Once we hit that state line, we're free to go. We got out of there. The team was tired, but we kept pushing. We did our safety breaks and so forth, but we got into Beaumont, Texas. We got the stage in there. We met some great people, Charlie Cox, Chris Capoletti. They became our family members, literally our family members. And once we got in there and we hooked up with these two gentlemen who were members of the community, very influential members of the community, but also members of the DDC, the Disaster Coordination Group, and had very close ties to them. So we were able to get into where the help was needed most very quickly into this mission. We were in this Beaumont area, Orange County, Kuntz, Sour Lake, and Lumberton, and I could tell you that without a doubt that is a very hard-hit area. Al Stute, one of our members, I don't see him here today, but he would beat me if I didn't say we were using USNG. And so as soon as we started doing that, we were all good to go, and we were able to do some 900 saves. That wasn't including the animals and all, so hats off to the gentlemen. Just to kind of tell you a little bit about the men that are standing in front of you and the task force members in general, and we do have women on the team as well. When these missions come up, we fill out a roster, who can go, credentials, and so forth. This credential was very high on Swiftwater, which we haven't been able to get to in the last couple of years because of funding. So we had to get the tickets the people that had the tickets to Swiftwater. We got this roster filled out. And when we got there, we were able to hook up with military special forces, Marine special force units, both amphibious and recon teams. And I can tell you that I talked with both of their leaders directly, and they were absolutely astonished at the level that we can perform. And Florida Task Force 3 as well out of Tampa and Hillsborough County. The partnerships that we created, I can speak for my own chief, who's given me the phrase that it's all about relationships. And that was very much the truth here, and that's what our job was, is to build the relationships in command and let the boots on the ground free to do their work. It couldn't have been done without Monster drinks, I got to just say that. And to say one of the military sayings that was just we had a gunny sergeant come out, and he just embedded it in our heads that the Marines, they always say, one more. So if you're wondering whether we're ready for Sunday or not, one more. That's all I got. Thank you so much.
So I'm a Lieutenant Zalonk with Orange County Fire Rescue. I was the planning manager. So what that entitles is I am kind of the logistics part of it, as well as planning, as well as that. I take all the paperwork, document all the stuff, and try and get the guys out in the field with the logistics support that we have, which was really essential to this crew. When you're running boats for hours, 24 hours, 12 hours, 20-hour shifts, boats run on fuel, run on props, run on all that stuff, and we're not swimming through lakes. We're not going through rivers. We're going through streets, over houses, over signs. A lot of damage gets done. So I'm going to talk about the unsaid heroes behind me, the logistic guys. Those guys that are trying in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. putting a boat back together so tomorrow we can rescue those people. Because without those boats, we're just guys sitting in the base. So to those guys, I want to say thank you personally to all our logistic guys. There's only 2 of them on this deployment. So thank you for a round of applause for our guys fixing the boats and getting them ready. Other than that, I do want to say thank you to all the families that allow these gentlemen to be out there for 10 days and checking in with Facebook at times, with cell phones when we had signal. To get you a picture of what we do and how we do it is we're like a mobile fire department. We have to be completely self-sufficient for whatever we're out there for. So that means we have to bring in our own water, power, everything we need, food, and with our team being where it is, we could do that. We can roll up. We have a kitchen. We can start making our own food. We have bathrooms from, thank you, from Task Force 3 that brought their bathroom so we can actually have showers. It wasn't exactly warm, but we're looking forward to all warm showers in our own beds tonight. But they provide a lot of assistance for us, so that's a good benefit for us. We don't want to impact the city of Beaumont or anywhere we go. We want to be self-sufficient, so we want that water ourselves, we want that food, we want that power, so we don't drain the resources that are already needed for the people. We're not there to pull from them, we're there to help them. So that's the biggest thing I saw from this deployment, being my first one. So I can tell you, great experience. We met a lot of great people out there, and there's a lot of love for us. And I can tell you from their side, they think of us all as heroes, but we just think of each other as doing our job, what we wanted to do all our whole lives. So that's all I got to say for you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. My name is Lieutenant Craig Hewlett with the Orlando Fire Department. I'd like to thank Chris Coletti of the Young Men's Business League of Beaumont, Texas. They're the ones that opened their facility up to us and gave us a base camp when we had to move from the arena that we were staying in. Having a base that they could come back to and regroup their thoughts, get rehabbed, get ready to go out again. Our teams were working 12 to 14 hours a day on boats. They didn't stop for lunch. They didn't stop for breaks. The need was so great, they worked constantly. And if it wasn't for Chris and his facility to give them a place to come back and lay their head without having to listen to the helicopters and the noise, we couldn't have done it. Also for the families, I don't know a single person that went on this deployment that didn't reach out to their family, that wasn't thinking about you while they were gone. The wives, the children, the support systems that we have, even in the community. The fact that they knew that Central Florida was backing us all the way kept them going those long days and kept them putting people in the boats and making the difference that we did for the people of Beaumont, Texas. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Warren. I'm with the City of Clermont. I've been affiliated with the task force since 2010, and I'm truly honored to be a part of this team and represent the City of Clermont. The experience was absolutely amazing. The guys worked super hard, and I would be wrong for not mentioning and thanking my squad, the Jolly Roger crew, for a good time. So from the City of Clermont to everybody else, thank you very much for allowing me to participate. I appreciate it.
My name is Richard Rebar. I'm with the City of Winter Park, firefighter paramedic. I just have to put a thanks to our rescue manager, to Leslie Kinsella. I had the opportunity to be with him and our crew, and we kind of fell into our laps where we went on the first day, which happened to be some of the most impacted areas. And to see Leslie actually take a situation to where someone is bowing a chest or somebody who wants to tell what to do, and to see him to take control of the situation and to get us out working to do what we needed to do and not get bogged down with red tape was amazing to see him do what he did. I just wanted to say thank you to Leslie for that. I also wanted to say thank you to Chief White for the City of Winter Park. I got on the team 12 years ago, just around the time Katrina, and I didn't have the opportunity to go to Katrina. And so Chief White and also Chief Walsh, who's also a member of our task force, who due to medical conditions couldn't be with us, but he was in our hearts. All of us talked about Chief Walsh, and a lot of us have trained under Chief Walsh and did a tremendous amount of training to do this. 12 years worth for me to have my first deployment. And I couldn't have done it without Chief Walsh and Chief White's support for all these years to go out and help the folks of Beaumont. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your stories and for your dedicated service. There will be opportunities for additional one-on-one interviews directly following this, so feel free to grab a team member for some quick sound. Then we're going to let these hardworking firefighters rejoin their families and get home. So thank you all for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.